Well?
No, we've only been here for a couple of hours, so we're just kind of taking in the scenery and the atmosphere of Romania for the first time. But we're very pleased to be here within Absu's 22 years of existence, so we're very glad to be here for the first time.
It's very nice. Do you plan to visit, to go around the country for a few days, or just
no, we're not going to have time because after this evening's performance, we'll be heading to the Netherlands for 3 shows after tonight.
That's a pretty long way to go.
Yes.
All right, so the latest album is probably, you mentioned in other interviews, comes from sort of a trilogy that you sent. We got Absu and Absu with a Z.
Yes.
So what would be the name of the final album?
Absu. APSU, which is the Sumerian spelling. So within the trilogy, the 2009 release is the English translation of Absu, and ABZU is the Mesopotamian spelling. And the next album will be APSU, which is the Sumerian spelling of the band's moniker. And it's something that I've intended to do for many years. Basically, it's 3 self-titled albums, but with the differential of the different spellings of the name.
I would also like to ask you mainly about the lyrical content of your song and the music. I'm not speaking only of this trilogy, but there's a lot of references to occultism and even some really obscure grimoires that you have in your lyrics. I would like to know, is this an interest that you actively pursue, or is it just something that you like to write about?
It's something that has fascinated me ever since I was roughly at the age of 12 years old by increasing hallucinogenic drugs and opening up the gates to my mind to understand the metaphysics and the science of occult and magic, ceremonial magic, Thelemic magic, Enochian magic.
So you are trying to push the boundaries of your consciousness and,
yes,
and music as well?
Yes, trying to create metaphysics with the architecture of the music and making them meet together. That's the main objective behind what I'm trying to do, not only with the music, but the lyrical content of Absu.
It's very nice. Beautiful, actually.
What will be the main difference between this album and the last one on the trilogy?
Well, they're basically compendiums of songs. They're not concept albums, so the last 2 albums differ from one another, and the next one will be much different. What I can tell you about the next album that will be released, it will feature the most songs on any Absu recording. We're aiming for somewhere around 13 to 16 tracks. Shorter songs, more to the point, instead of long epic tracks that Absu has featured on previous albums in the discography. So we're shooting for shorter songs because the main objective within the discography of Absu is not to create the same album within the discography. So we want each release to be completely different from one another.
Did you use another mythological inspiration for this album? Besides magic and
Sumerian and Mesopotamian mythology is a key factor to the lyrical conception of the last 2 albums. Prior to that, I delved deeply into Celtic myths and my ancestral attributions, being Scottish and Irish and pertaining to the ex-members of the band as well. But I felt like I had abused those topics, so I wanted to go back to the roots of what Absu is all about, pertaining to Mesopotamian, Sumerian, and Assyrian mythology, and combining that with magic as well.
How come you decided to shoot a video for Hall of the Masters after a break of 14 years since the last video?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because we actually shot a video for the second part of the last song on the last album, which is a song for Aya, the second movement called A Myriad of Portals, but we were not satisfied with the end results, and so the video has been shelved. So the TV network Adult Swim had contacted us to record a song for their network, and theoretically that video features Absu's music, but it's not theoretically an Absu video, even though I helped twist the plot a little bit and altered it and custom tailored it. So it's more Absu's music based around their video.
Do any of you work on a side project at the moment, or a solo career?
Currently I don't. My main focus is on Absu.
I just do Absu as well.
Rumpelstiltskin Grinder, thrash bands, my other projects.
On Candlelight Records as well.
Yeah.
Over the years, you personally have developed a very unique style of drumming, it's very fast and also quite intricate. We would like to know what would be your main influences that actually helped you develop this style?
I'm an immense fan of jazz drumming, 70s progressive rock. Very complex patterns is what fascinates me. And I try to combine those elements with extreme metal drumming as well. I don't necessarily go for being the fastest, but to be innovative and complex is my key to drumming. So I'm not looking to be world's fastest drummer, but just to be innovative and inventive at the same time.
What would be your suggestions to new musicians that probably pick the drums as an instrument? What would be your advice to young musicians?
Practice every day for several hours and keep a habitual regiment of practicing, and follow yourself, don't follow others. It's always been my creed.
Do you have something special for tonight prepared, or maybe you will be playing something from the new album?
It's a full set. We're covering songs from the entire discography, excluding the first album on this run. But for the Romanian fans and followers, we want to present an equally distributed set of songs from the discography of Absu. And it'll be a lengthy set of around 80 to 90 minutes of mythological occult metal madness.
Another question regarding also the themes and the lyrical content. Is there a possibility of changing the approach on the future album after this trilogy? What would be the main focus afterwards? Are you going to stay into all the occult and Sumerian myths, or is it something else that you have in mind?
I will stick with that lyrical concept, but I'm starting to become fascinated with more scientific formulas dealing with astronomy, planets, ontology,
So
a lot of nihilism, getting more into mathematics and science, but intertwining those topics with the basis of thelemic magic and ceremonial magic and tarot as well. So.
all right.
Anyone else?
Is that a wrap?
I believe so.
All right.
Okay, so no funny questions whether Kerry King asked you to play for Slayer then. I'm surprised no one asked that one.
Oh, yeah. There's not much to say about it. I auditioned. I didn't get the role. It was just a ploy to bring Dave Lombardo back, but now he's gone, so good luck to whoever sits in that throne of Slayer. Glad it's not me.
Their loss.
Yeah. But it was a good opportunity. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity